Hi, welcome back to the Blessed Bonds podcast. Today we have on Laura Vgot. I want her to tell us a little bit about herself.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Rose, for having me. Happy to be here. My name is Laura, like she said. I was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri, and I studied nursing actually. And then after I graduated, I decided to do travel nursing. I went to Florida for a little bit, then I was in Tennessee, and then it brought me to Arizona, and I fell in love with Arizona, and there I am today.
Yeah. Do you think you'll live there for
Oh,
a while? Are you
yes.
stuck there now?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely fallen in love. Like, there's
Cool.
so much to love about Arizona. I always had a feeling that that was going to be a place that I really connected with and really enjoyed. I mean, I really love the warm weather and being outdoors in the mountains. And there's also just something about the people and the environment in Arizona, too. Like, everyone is so willing to help each other and help you get to your goals and see who I can connect you with to. If I can't help you, then maybe I know somebody who can help you.
Yeah.
So it's really special. And yeah, I definitely see myself staying there for a long time.
Yeah. This is off topic, but I had a podcast the other day and we talked about how your environment matters.
Mm,
And I feel like that, the way you talked about Arizona, that's true. Because the people you spend time with and the places that you go, that shapes who you are and who you become.
absolutely, 100%. And I think growing up in St. Louis, I pretty much felt like I knew this whole area. I knew everybody here, and I was just ready for a change in my life. And I knew I had a certain goal for myself and a certain life I wanted for myself. And I knew in order to achieve that, I needed to change my environment and change who I was around. And that's absolutely true. Like your environment, whether you realize it or not, makes such a difference in your life.
For sure. Yes. Okay. So my first question for you, these are just some kind of fun get to know her questions.
Yeah.
But what are you really passionate about right now?
Right, it's such an exciting time right now. There's a lot of things that are happening within AI, and so learning a lot about the tools and how you can integrate that and just play around with that has been very exciting. And also within real estate, so I'm actually looking to buy something in Arizona.
That's so fun.
So I'm excited. Yes, and definitely been going to some networking events and connecting with some real estate investors, which is really exciting. So, investing in wealth building is also something that I'm really passionate about and one of my big goals in life. And so, once again, it ties into, you are the people that you surround yourself with. So, getting yourself around these people and around the people who have already achieved the things that you want to do. So, more than likely, all you have to do is just start that conversation, even though it may be uncomfortable, it may be a new room that you haven't been in. But, what's the worst that can happen? More than likely, if you say, hey, I really admire you and what you've done with your life. Do you mind? Could we have a conversation about what has been successful for you? More than likely, people are willing to help you. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. When you started doing that and going to events like that, was it scary? Kind of this is not where my place is.
Yeah, at first, of course, yeah, it's uncomfortable, and you're just well, so what I would do is I would go to events on purpose by myself.
Yeah.
And so I knew I'm on this personal growth journey, and I always just want to grow and develop. And I knew communication is one of the skills that I've always wanted to get better at. And so how do you get better at something? You practice and you put in the reps. And even though you put yourself in an environment that you're uncomfortable with and you haven't been in, but it's good. It's going to force you to start a conversation with somebody and build those skills that you're trying to build.
Yeah. When I first started going to the events, I was like, what am I doing here? Get me out. This is scary. And then people talk to you and they ask you questions. But yeah, I feel like once you start getting more out of your comfort zone, you start to get comfortable being outside your comfort zone. That becomes a natural thing. And you're like, okay, maybe you're not you're still scared. I'm still terrified. When I speak on stage, I'm like, no, I'm dumb. Out of here, get me off stage. And then by the end of it, I'm like, wait, that wasn't as bad. And so just putting yourself in those uncomfortable situations so that you get more comfortable to the feeling of being uncomfortable.
That's right. And that's where the real growth happens. It's I love that phrase. Yeah, get comfortable being uncomfortable because that's the only way that you're going to grow and you're going to develop. And most likely things that you want to get aren't easy to get. And you're going to have to overcome an uncomfortable, scary situation. But the abilities and the results that may happen, totally worth it. Totally. You just have to really push yourself and take that leap of faith and say, I'm scared, but I'll do this anyway,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be okay.
For sure. Yeah, that was scary for me in the beginning, but once you just start getting it, you start going.
Once you start doing it more, you get a little bit more
Mhm.
comfortable doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And now it's like I can go into any room, I feel like,
Yeah.
and by myself with no one, and I'm
Mhm.
like, I can feel very comfortable having a conversation with a stranger that
Yeah.
I don't know. And so, yeah, it's just about putting those reps in, and
Mhm.
eventually you get more comfortable doing that.
I think doing things alone, like you said, like I love doing things alone. And it's not that
Mhm.
I'm like, but I like love spending time by myself too. Like I love like nights in the night. Like this is so dumb. And someone the other day told me I was like an old person. I love tea. I had a cup of tea doing a puzzle. Why? I love it at night. God, I just hang out and I just sit there. That makes me so happy because I have to be alone.
Mhm.
I think being alone and kind of do like not like I just sit there and I spend time is you get kind of uncomfortable being by yourself. Like, oh my God, I say that. But yeah, spending time alone. Do you enjoy spending time alone?
I love time. Yeah, I mean, I stay alone by myself. Like, no, people in order to figure it out on your own. Okay, awesome.
Okay, back to what we were saying. Where were we at?
So we were talking about being able to spend time alone with yourself.
Yes.
And I actually think that that's a really great thing to be able to do, because I think you see people who constantly are always seeking the company of somebody,
Mhm.
and I think that can turn into a pretty toxic thing, actually,
Yeah.
especially in regards to like a relationship. Say people jump from one relationship to another because they're seeking some sort of something,
Mhm.
but you have to be able to learn to get that from yourself.
Yeah.
And be happy with like just yourself and where you are as a person and be individual. So I relate that too. I love my alone time.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What are things you do like during your alone time?
My alone time is, yeah, I feel like I can be a bit more reflective and think
Mhm.
about like where I'm at and where I want to be in my life.
Mhm.
And also gratitude, like taking a moment and just like reflecting back. And I feel like we get so caught up in like the day-to-day stuff that, wow, like just take a moment and think like where I'm at in my life now and where I was 5 years ago.
Mhm.
And that person will be so proud of me. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I did achieve this. I did get here. I got myself here. And so I think it's just taking a moment and stepping back and be like, wow, like I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful that I live here, that I'm with these people, that the simple things in life that you take for granted, just like a meal that we were talking about. I have this food. I'm able to go out and eat at a restaurant that not everybody gets to do. So
Yeah.
it's just, and gratitude too, always staying grounded and grateful.
Yeah, something I love doing is writing my future self a letter. So like the other day, I don't think it was like the 15th or something, I opened a letter from like myself a year ago. And it was so cool. And it was funny because I had like written down questions and I was like, here's what I think the answer is going to be, but like, what is the answer? And it was so cool because I knew like that I wasn't going to be swimming as much. Like swimming was like a big thing for me. And it was like something so hard for me to like let go of. I think writing yourself letters helps you so much because at the bottom it was like my 14-year-old self was like, I'm super proud of you no matter like what's going on in your life. And I was like, okay. And that really helped me because there's a part in it where I've been like really stressed out lately. Like, okay, I quit swim. Did I like fail her? because my goals last year was just like swim, swim, swim. Like that was like my big goal. And then this past year, I became like an author, a speaker, like a podcast, like all this stuff. And I was like, did I fail her? And I was like reading this letter. I didn't remember at all what I'd written in it. And it was like, and even if you're not swimming, don't like feel like you failed me. And I was like, how did she know? And it was like, know that you can give up certain goals because you have different ones.
Absolutely.
And it was like, so writing yourself a letter like to your future self and then like not being able to open it till like a year later is terrifying. But it was really cool to be like open it and like, okay. It kind of gave you like a step forward, like keep moving.
Absolutely. I love that concept. That's so beautiful. And it's thinking, yeah, even though that was your goal at that point in your life, you will always continue to grow and develop, and your goals may change, you may alter, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Do you think you'll stay in nursing, or do you think you'll move more towards like the real estate and like entrepreneur kind of stuff?
I definitely see myself transitioning out of that and moving more towards like business, real estate, investing. As I've, gotten older, I've gotten in the field, I got my experience, but I don't really see myself doing that for the next 30 years of my life. And I find myself that as I learned and I taught about different topics after I graduated school, and I gained a little bit more knowledge and insight into the real world. I'm like, like this is actually what I'm passionate about. This is what I'm interested in. And it's like life's too short to just do something that you're not super passionate about and not feeling with anymore. So it's okay to pivot, even though it may be challenging, it may be uncomfortable. But I think just having clarity on like, this is really what I want to do and this is what I'm passionate about. And so I could see myself definitely transitioning. Ultimately, I would love to be able to run a business, have real estate, and manage investments. Yes.
I feel like that's cool. It's like you change goals a lot in your life. And like being open to changing goals. And I've had like people in my life when I quit swim. That was like the biggest thing that I've like had to move on from in my life. And they were like, you've done this for 10 years. What are you doing? And I don't know. I don't necessarily know. And it was cool to see as these people were like, this is what you were going to do. This is like your plan. Why are you changing now? And I was like, because if you stay conformed like that same thing, you just continue to do that, you're not growing. And so I was like, I want to grow and I want to be this different person. I didn't like who I was becoming. And I was like, and you have to change to become somebody else. And so anybody who's listening and you're thinking like somebody else is telling you to not quit something or not, like it's not even necessarily quitting, it's just moving on, just trying something else. To try something else, if you feel called to do it, just do it. Like just try something else.
That's exactly right.
It's so much different. Like if I never would have started speaking and started the podcast and started writing, like my life would probably be the same as it was. But now I've been able to change so much. And like change is so cool. I love and hate change.
Yeah,
it's like, I don't want to change. That's like really happy.
Change, I feel like, is one of those things in life that's inevitable. Like, whether you realize it or not, there's always going to be change in your life, and it's about how you respond to it. Exactly. And just to think how, if I would have never taken the leap to do travel nursing, that would have never led me to Arizona and never led me to Reef and meeting you. And now it's like, I'm so happy with my life now. And I think I would be, settling if, I didn't take that change and was like, well, I'm just going to keep doing what I've always done. And there are always going to be people that are like, oh, no, don't do that, or try to put you down and make you stay in this same routine that you've always done. But I think that's honestly more of a reflection of that person, that they probably wouldn't take the leap and they probably wouldn't do that. But that's a really big thing. If you are able to go out of your comfort zone and take a big leap like that, like bravo to you, because not a lot of people will do that. And you're only going to reap the benefits of that, honestly. And like you said, it's going to like life-changing, like alter your entire life.
Right.
It's beautiful. Change is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I think it's cool because sometimes God uses change to like help other people. And like things, if I wouldn't have changed my life, I wouldn't have been able to help people. And there was like something I spoke on when I was in Oregon, was how I had started my podcast, and a girl had reached out to me. We had like met through like online, and she reached out to me and she was like, I listened to all your podcasts and I was looking for a reason to stay alive. And that gave me a reason. And I was thinking about, if I wouldn't have been willing to change my life, then her life might not have been changed. And it's like you have to be willing to do what you feel called to do and do what you know you're supposed to do if it like helps other people. And that's why I kind of want to go to like our next part about serving.
Yes.
And so, because I had seen a story on Reef, since I love like watching guys like stories, but I had seen a story the other day, and it was about how you guys went and served. And so, can you guys like tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, of course. So we are part of an organization. It's called Scottsdale Serve Squad. And so basically we find different ways that we can serve others and help feed the homeless. And so an opportunity came up in November, Thanksgiving time, and we got connected with a woman. She has a community of women who are in need pretty much. And so we were able to collect items and make baskets full of full Thanksgiving meals. They had these full pumpkin pies and these huge hams and green beans and rolls and everything you could possibly need for a big Thanksgiving meal. And so we delivered them to the women, and it was just crazy because you can see like they had some of their children with them. And the fact that maybe they themselves couldn't provide a whole meal, but the fact that we were able to say, you know what, here, let's step in and we'll help you and enjoy this meal, because you don't know when was the last time they had a big meal like that. It's just like you never know what that person is going through. So that was really special. That was really cool to be able to say, here, like, happy Thanksgiving, enjoy this amazing meal on us, and hopefully just bring them a little bit less stress and just a little happy memory to their family.
Yeah, and I feel like someone was talking to me one time, and they're like, well, I don't want to just preach to people about God. And I was like, you don't have to. Because, like, the actions that you do shows, like, who you believe in, shows, like, who has your heart. And so I did this thing one time where I made, okay, so I am not a baker. And I can, I try really hard. And I tried to bake them, like, pumpkin bread. I tried to bake like a bunch of mini pumpkin breads, and they literally blew up in the like ovens. It didn't work. So we went to the store and we bought some like different like breads and different baked goods, and I brought it like to these different homeless people. And I walked around and like found some homeless people, and I gave it to them, and I was like, "Can I pray with you?" And they were like, "Yeah." And I was like, "What do you want me to pray about? Like, what is going on in your life?" And I loved how they were just talking about how they weren't praying to get out of their situation. They were praying to find peace in it. And I was like, that really like reflected on me. And I was like, I have all these things. I'm super fortunate. Yeah, I still like seek. Like I want to do something else. I want to do this and this and this. And I just need to find peace with where I am, and then continue to grow. And so I was like, that is so cool. It's like I learned a lot from them. But yeah, it showed like who I was and who I am with God. Not just like, okay, so listen, Jesus, blah, blah, blah. Like I didn't do that. I was just like, hey, can I just talk to you?
Yeah.
And so I think that was super special. And it's like even just talking to those people.
Absolutely.
Because they're not any different than you. And I had talked to a friend, and they were talking about like people that are like more poor and people that are like less fortunate, and they were talking like down about it. And I was like, Jesus still died for them. I was like, that's the same person that he was dying for on the cross. And so I think when you see it like that, I love to look at people and think, Jesus loves them like the same way he loves me. And that makes you move forward a lot better.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's like you yourself is even acting as like, Jesus made the fish and the loaves of bread, and that's kind of like you embodying that and being able to serve in any way that you can like that as well.
Yeah, and so I had written down some questions about serving. Let's figure out this. Okay, so yeah, I wrote down that a lot of people like want to start serving, and they just don't know where to start. And so if you could give them like a piece of advice on where to start serving in like their community, what would you tell them?
Sure. Well, like you said, there's a kind of like the traditional way of just speaking and letting the people know, like, oh, this is how, Jesus served, and these are kind of his typical preachings. And then also by your actions, like you said. So whether that means feeding food to the homeless, or, going to like soup kitchens, or, just seeing somebody on the street homeless and just saying like, hey, can I pray with you? And just thinking what a difference that could make, honestly. And so there's a lot of different ways, there's like churches, there's community groups. So just finding whatever you feel most connected with and going along that route.
Yeah, and I think it means so much to people. While you're talking, I was thinking about something I'd heard. It's like, what if someone's praying for exactly what you have? And they're praying for exactly what you like. You have this feeling in your heart. You're like, I feel like I should go do this because someone's praying about it. And that was what I realized when, like, I was writing my book, because I was sitting there and I was like, I'm not doing it. I don't want to do it. And God was like, why are you keep thinking about you're doing it for you? You're not doing it for you. And like in swimming, I would always do better in relays because it was for other people. And I was like, I have to win so that they can win. And so if you're like that and your mindset is thinking about, what if they're praying for you to do that thing? And like, what if they're praying for you to come and just talk to them? Like, what if someone's praying out there? I didn't think about it as like a homeless person sitting on the side of the road and they're just praying that somebody comes and talks to them.
Right.
And I remember, like, whenever we drive by homeless people, I was like, I wonder what his story is. Because he probably has a really cool story.
Yeah.
And I think that, yeah, just taking time, like, away from your busy life and busy schedule to just sit down with somebody and, like, have that conversation. What I'm going to start doing is, because we have a bunch of homeless people around our church. And I was like, why aren't they in church? And so I want to go and, like, talk to one of them and be like, hey, like, go early before church. Like, you want to go get, like, breakfast and then go to church with me? Because then you're at least feeding them. It's like, okay, we're getting something out of it. And then go to church. Because, like, you don't know what their lives are like.
Very
and
true.
so being that, like, little bit of light, because that's not going to take you. It's like 3 hours of your day on a Sunday. Like, you're going to be okay. You'll be okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, taking that and just spreading the light.
Right. Exactly.
Because you don't know what they need.
Providing that invitation too, exactly. Like just offering an outreached hand, like saying, hey, I'm thinking of you, and here's this place that I think that you would really enjoy and feel connected with. And you know, you don't have to feel so alone. You know, a lot of those people, like you said, you don't know their story, but I'm sure that can be hard. Like you feel lonely, you feel helpless sometimes, and just having someone outreach to you and say like, hey, like, come this way and look at the light, and
yeah, it can be a very big game changer. And then another question I had was like, what's a story from like a serving time that you've kind of like stuck with?
Yes, I would say I will never forget. So in high school, actually, I did a mission trip, and it was in a city of Joplin. There was a horrible tornado that had literally, it's a pretty small town, and the tornado like pretty much wiped out like a majority of all the homes and businesses, and so they were really in need of basically rebuilding the entire city. And so for spring break, actually, there was a group of girls and we went to Joplin and we stayed there for the whole week, and we literally worked on, like, we literally rebuilt houses, so cool. Which was so cool. And I had so much fun doing it too. I mean, we were up there putting up the drywall and putting in electrical outlets and things like that. So that was, once again, it was like something different that I wouldn't normally do, but I knew that like this is going to be somebody's home. Like someone is going to have shelter now, and like that's making a big impact on somebody. And so that was like, I'll never forget that. That was a really, really cool trip, and I would love to do a mission trip in the future. I would totally do that again.
Yeah, I know. I think that we're going to think about going on a mission trip in this summer, because I was like, that is so fun.
Yeah, I would think and too, with like my nursing background, I would love to do like a medical trip, maybe to, you know, another country. Like I think that would be so fun. I would totally do that.
That is cool. Because you could.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I could totally, help with like a procedure or medications or something like that in regards. So yeah, that would be cool.
That would be really cool. Okay, so like the next topic I wanted to go on to, it's different, but it's about your like faith. Okay, we'll do faith first.
Okay.
Okay, how has your faith influenced the way you serve and love people?
I mean, faith is so important. I feel like it brings you to a place of like gratitude and grounds you, and like those are my roots, you know? Like that's kind of how I treat other people. You know, they say treat people as you would like to be treated, and I like to follow that myself. You know, I like to think that I try to be like a positive, happy person, and people will typically say that about me when they say like, oh, you're so like positive and happy and smiling, and I'm like, yeah, well, you know, that's, you know, the world is already so hard enough, and there's already so much hate and hardship out there that it's like someone we got to be the light, right? And once again, you never know what somebody is going through, and even just like a simple smile and a compliment could totally make somebody's day. Like you never know what they're going through, and I think it's important to love one another and care for each other, because we could do a lot more together than us fighting against each other, like let's work together and we can make the world a beautiful place.
Yeah, I think I talk about to my friends a lot, because sometimes they're really negative and really down, and I'm like, okay, it's gonna be okay. Like that's my biggest thing. It's gonna be okay. It is hard. Like when my grandma passed away, it was in January, and I remember they told me, and I just kind of stood there, and it was really unexpected, and I was like, I didn't cry. I just stood there and I was like, I just thinking, I was so grateful. Because when you start looking at life, and I started thinking about this a lot more, is I don't get as sad that things are over. I get really grateful that I got to do those things. I got to like live that. And so I remember I stood there and I wasn't like over the time I got more sad, but I was thinking, I was like, I'm so grateful I got all that time. And I'm so grateful that I got to live that life. And looking at your life instead of being like, okay, well, this could be better, this could be better. Yeah, everything could always be better. But look at it and be like, I'm so grateful that this is the life I get to live. And I think sometimes you see like the homeless people and they're all smiling and happy, and I'm like, why? And like people are like, why are they happy? And like we can be happy, we have so much more. It's like, because you have more in your heart or more like in your like life.
Right.
And so I feel like that has been a big like changer in my mind, is like it's about how I react to things. Something happens and I'm like, okay, how would Jesus react? And that like kind of changes my mindset. I'm like, I can be sad and I can be hurt, but you have to move on and be like, okay, I still love those people and I still treat them like with respect.
Yes. Bravo to you that you have already developed that mindset, because I feel like that's people's biggest battles. Like people always tend to take the negative route or these negative thoughts. And it's like, you know what? Let's take a step back and reverse it. Like, oh, I'm so grateful that I had that opportunity. I had that time with that person. And to think, whether it was a good or bad situation, I'll take lessons and I'll learn from this and I'll carry that forward through the rest of my life. And so I think that's so powerful, is like to have the right mindset, exactly, and how you view things. It's not necessarily the thing itself that is really your reaction to that, because that's what you can control, and you can either take a negative or a positive reaction to that. So if you train your brain and train yourself to always think of the positive, you're golden.
When I had so something that Tony Robbins had said is, and I do this sometimes, if I have like a really bad day or I'm like really stressed about something, and it's like you like hold your hand over your heart so you can like hear you feel your heartbeat, and then you just sit there and you think how grateful you are that you still have that heartbeat. And then you like close your eyes, and I like to think about different memories that are really happy and really cool. And then me and my friend, we talked about something about having like a safe space in your brain. It's like every time you have like a really hard day or a really bad day, it's like when I get super stressed or like working stuff, I like close my eyes and imagine I'm like in like 10 years and I'm sitting on a beach and I'm with my husband and our daughter and we're playing in the sand making sandcastles. And that's like my thought of like when everything gets like super stressed, I'm like, okay, but there's better to come. And so always remembering that, okay, tomorrow's better. But the storm runs out of rain sometime. Like it'll get better. And so that's another approach. Or something that Trent Shelton said, where it was like whenever you have like a really bad day, or you're really stressed about something, or I think he was talking about like depression, start writing things you're grateful for. Because gratitude starts to come in there and you're like, okay, well, this is all good. Like, yeah, there is bad, but the good will always win. And so if you're like having a hard day or you're like super sad about something, just start writing what you're grateful for. And you can pull it into that category. Just start writing, okay, I'm grateful that I get the chance to have this like feeling. Like, I'm grateful that I get to experience this. I'm grateful that I get to do those things. And so just start writing those things. Because like you talk about a lot about gratitude. And when you're grateful, it's really hard to be sad.
Exactly. True. That's right. And I've done that test before where it's like, I believe you can like rewire your brain if you tell yourself like that you practice gratitude for like 30 days or something straight like that. And then you notice a difference. Like you're just overall a more happy person, and you find yourself being more happy and being more positive. And it's like, it really, it's a real thing. It really works, and gratitude above it all. That's a great way to, if you see yourself slipping and having a bad day or getting these negative thoughts, then you can kind of redirect yourself and say, whoa, wait, well, I'm so grateful that I get to be here, that I'm experiencing this, that I'm here now, and that really helps.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I kind of want to move on and ask you about like relationships. And so I feel like I love talking about relationships on here because having a relationship with people, having a relationship with God is all super cool. And so we have had Reef on. So I don't know if you guys have listened to the podcast with Reef Coleman, but that's such a good podcast. And so if you haven't, go listen to that one. But okay, so I want to know like how you met him.
Yes, yeah, this is a great story. So we actually met at a business mastermind event, and it was business related. Lots of entrepreneurs were there, and I went there because I'm interested in entrepreneurship and being a business owner. And so that was really why I went there, what I was going into it with. And I just so happened to see Reef there and meet, and we decided to book a call together, just kind of get to know each other more. And we found out that we actually live pretty close to each other, and we said, oh, well, we should meet up for coffee in person. And then we did, and we just spent hours talking. And just the topics that we talked about really stood out to me because they were like initial conversations with someone that typically didn't go like that. And we touched on some like really great things like core values, which are super important. I feel like when you're developing a relationship with somebody, it's super important to have core values that are similar. And I think what he said, like, they just stood out so much to me. And I was like very impressed. And I was like, wow, like, I have not had a conversation like this with somebody. And then we got into talking about like our goals and what kind of life we wanted for each other. And once again, like, I felt very aligned with what he was saying and what I was saying. And so from there, it was like game over. I mean, it's been inseparable ever since. So.
Yeah. And when we were at lunch earlier, and she told me that she met him at a mastermind event. And I was like, I met my boyfriend at a mastermind event. And so I feel like that's cool because you actually like knew what his purpose, like you knew he knew what he had a purpose, and you knew that like
right,
just some random dude that like,
exactly. So I think by you even being at an event like that shows what kind of person you are, what character you are, and like that's definitely something that I value, something he values. And so I think that alone, just meeting at an event like that, speaks a lot.
For sure.
Because you're taking yourself seriously, you have ambitions, you have goals, and I think that is really important, especially if you want to be able to reach your goals. You want to be with a partner who supports you and understands like you got to do what you got to do to get there.
Yeah, and so I think that kind of feeds in my next question, where I don't know how I worded it. It'll probably be worded better in here. Yeah, you guys both have separate goals. So how do you make time for each other and work on your goals separately?
So that's true. There are different things that we are working on, but then we are also aligned in some ways as well. So, for example, like events, like we'll try to go to as many events together per se. And there's different types. Like he has a lot of like AI events, and then I have a lot of real estate events, and it's kind of incorporating and including each other in those things. And then also taking time at like the end of the day as well, just doing like a little recap, like, hey, how was your day? Like, what are some highs, what are some lows, what are you working on tonight? And just saying like, is there anything that I can do right now to help support you? Or taking a moment back and just thinking, okay, so this is kind of our schedule, and saying, okay, I have this planned and I have this planned, and just like really incorporating each other into that. And then giving each other kind of updates like, hey, even though I'm working on this and you're working on this was like a really great thing that I accomplished today or got done today. So I think it's like sharing your wins and what you're working on and incorporating each other into those.
Yeah, because then you build together.
Exactly.
And like you don't have to be building the exact same thing, because that makes it really hard if you're building the exact same thing. But you're building like two separate things, but then you make it as one.
Exactly.
And so that's really cool. My mom and I were talking about that earlier, because I was like, I want to grow in my own stuff, but like you have to grow other people, and it's like that's hard sometimes. And so yeah, I love that you guys can grow each other by having separate goals, and it's okay to have separate goals. Like I think sometimes we're like, oh, we need to have the same goal as them, or we need to like help them. I feel like girls especially, where we need to help them achieve their goals and just be their little like servant. But it's like no, you can have your own goal and then work together on your separate goals.
Absolutely, 100% yes. Because like to me, I do have like big goals and ambitions and I want to achieve those, but I also want to be able to, of course, like support my partner and their goals. And so I think that's important too. Like don't just abandon like your goals and your ambitions for to support somebody else's. I think it's also important for you to have yours as well, but be able to support each other. And yeah, my vision is like I would love to build an empire with my partner. Like that is like what I see for myself and what I envision. So I love that.
Yeah, and you guys have two different audiences, and that's what I was talking to Forrest about. As I was like, you have all these big arm wrestler dudes and like these guys that I could never like reach out to, like I could never reach them. And then I have these teen girls who are going through a lot of life struggles. And I was like, and we have two totally different audiences, but we get to talk to them both about God, and then we pull them together. Yeah. And I was like, and that is so cool because he's probably gonna go with me to like girl speaking events and be like, I don't know like what any of these girls are going through, and then I'll go with him to like his things, and we have such different like goals in those parts, but it's like I'm still gonna cheer you on and support you because we're still doing it for God. It's just different things.
Exactly.
And so that's really cool about like you and Reef is you guys have two totally different like little lifestyles, but then you guys get to pull it together.
Right.
And yeah.
Exactly.
So
yes.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, so I had another question with that. Hold up. Okay, yeah. So I put like, what's one piece of advice that you give girls who want a healthy relationship, but that they're still chasing their own dreams?
Yeah, I would say it's still important to set your own goals and your own ambitions, and don't give that up for somebody else. If you're with the right person, they wouldn't force you to give that up. Right. You would think that they would be supportive of what you're doing and be like, oh, actually, like, can I come with you? Can I be there with you? So I would suggest that. Like, don't give up on your own dreams and your aspirations, your own goals. But it's great to find something that you both are interested in and do it together. Like say you're both interested in like pottery, then do like a pottery class together or something. Just finding somewhere that you can both enjoy together.
Yeah, I've like learned this in having a relationship, and I can see it with you and Reef, is that when you have your own goal, you push them to do theirs more. And so like I'm writing a book, and like I've written a book, and Forrest is writing a book. And so when I'm like, okay, I did this today, and did this today, and I did this, he kind of, not to be like me, but he kind of feels that pressure. He's like, okay, I should work on this too. And so when like the man sees you working on your relationship, but even with the guy to the girl, like they see you working on your own thing, it pushes them to be like, okay, I should work on my own thing. And it's gonna like push each other, like not to where it's like a mean pushing each other, but like, hey, you should probably work on this because I know what your goals are. And I feel like being, okay, so this is kind of a fun story, but Forrest and I met by being accountability partners. And I'm like, now we're like life accountability partners. Because I'm like, okay, this you need to like accomplish. You got to accomplish this and this. And like, it's pushing each other. Yes. And so like, I can see that with you and Reef.
Oh yeah.
It's like you push him to be his best self, but you're also supporting him while he's still who he is.
Exactly.
And that's so important.
Like definitely supporting where he's at, but I know your full potential. Yeah. And it's like a healthy accountability. Yeah. That's right. Like, hey, I saw you do this, or I remember you mentioned you were going to do this. Did you actually do that? Or it's like, okay, well, let's sit down and I'll sit with you and I'll walk you through this step and we can do it together. Yeah. But either way, we know it needs to get done. And I'm just doing it within, it's a loving way. Yeah. And being able to, hold them accountable for sure. Right. Like cheer for them in public, but then like healthily criticize and give feedback when you're both together. Yes.
Yeah. And I feel like sometimes people get worried about like criticizing them, or like the right person will want healthy criticism.
Right. I think that's actually a great thing. I love input. I love feedback. Like give it to me because I just want to keep growing, keep developing, and push me, like challenge me. Like I like that. Yeah. Exactly. And there are times where I know I'm slipping and I can do better, and it's good to have somebody who is like it's coming from a place of love, but I see you, but I know you can do better and help you in that direction. Yes.
Right. And like being okay with receiving that. Exactly. Like I sometimes struggle with that. Depends on who it's from. Like if it's from like my brother, I'm like, just leave me alone. But if it's from like Forrest or from one of my friends, you're like, okay, so I saw this. I feel like you could like do a little bit better at this part.
Yes.
You're doing great, and I'm super proud of you. And I also think that that's an important thing. Is I know you do very well at that. Is telling him that you're proud of him, and telling him that he's doing good, because sometimes we just need that like words of affirmation. Like, we all have different love languages, but I think we all enjoy words of affirmation. I mean, okay, they're proud of me.
Yes.
And they're happy with what I'm doing. Because when you get those like little joys and you get that like confirmation from somebody else, you start to believe it with yourself. And it's like I've noticed as I tell like a certain friend, like, I'm proud of you, you're doing really good, blah blah blah. Like she starts to believe. Like I have one friend that I talk to her a lot about, like, I'm proud of you and you're doing really good and all these things. And I've watched her grow into a person who's like, I'm proud of myself. And so I think that's important as a partner.
Yeah.
Is being like, hey, I'm proud of you. You're doing really good. Like, and I see you. And I know you do so good at that, like when you write him letters and stuff like that, because that helps him.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's one of the ways that I want him to feel like words of affirmation are very big for him too. So it's like that's something that I really try to make an effort towards and be like, tell him, verbalize that to him and be like, I'm proud of you. I see you. I know you're putting in all this hard work and I admire you. You're going to achieve absolutely everything I know that you want to because of the person that you are. You have such a hard work ethic and willing to go above and beyond and do things that other people aren't willing to do. And I think when you hear that from somebody else, that gives you kind of a good reaffirm, like, oh yeah, like I am doing good, like I got this, I can do this, you know, because sometimes people could fall into that negative self-talk trap. But when somebody is telling you like, hey, you got it, I'm proud of you, keep going strong, that can give you that little push to do that.
I think figuring out your love languages is a fun like date night. Figure out love languages
100%.
because what are yours?
Yeah, interesting. I would say mine is probably physical touch and quality time.
That's what mine is.
Yes, and it's interesting because his is like words of affirmation and gifts. So it's been interesting, like navigating through that too. Exactly, and just figuring that out. So and if once it goes back again to like communication too is key, and we're able to have conversations like, hey, I feel like I'm not getting this or I'm lacking this. And I'm like, okay, well, thank you for bringing it to my attention. And so now I can like really hone in and be better about that. And I think that's really big in a relationship too, is like, I would highly recommend if you haven't already, like explore and like figure out each other's love languages because you can, to one person, you know, I may be showing you my love, but to the other person, it's like, oh, I don't feel loved at all by that, which is interesting. You know, some people like to be touched, other people don't like to be touched. So if you are like super touchy around somebody and to you, like, oh, that's me showing you love, but the other person's like, I'm not really a big fan of being touched, then that can be like a big miscommunication there. So that can be really big in a relationship as well.
Mine is love language. Like my love language is like physical touch. And like I love hugs. But I like giving it. And I do like receiving it, but like from certain people. Certain people just make me uncomfortable.
Yes.
And I feel like that's okay. And then I love giving. I love giving. But I don't really like receiving things. Like if people give me a gift, I'm like, okay, thanks. Like words of affirmation, like receiving that is really hard for me. I'm like, they like, tell you I'm proud of you. And I'm like, thanks. Move on. And so that's hard for me to like receive. And so I like don't always like that. But I love like telling people those kind of things.
Yes.
And like I'm so proud of you, you're doing so good. And like someone writes me a letter, like that I love. Like you're able to like talk to me and you kind of do that kind of stuff. I don't have to react to it. Like I react to it on my own. Like I don't cry in front of people a lot. And so then I can like show my emotions by myself and not be like, okay, thanks. Okay, cool, move on. So like that's the difference with that. And then acts of service is nice, but I'm kind of like in my independent mindset. I'm like, I can do it all by myself. And so it's like harder for me to like receive that. And so it's getting like, it's hard. But yeah, and I think it's just finding the other person's support. So like definitely quality time. And quality time is super important to me. Like, I can just sit there and talk to people for like a long time. That's super important. And just like physical touch, like hugs. That's so important. I love hugs. Like, yeah, I don't know. But I think it just depends on the person and it's okay to be different. Like, that's fun.
100%. And that's okay, definitely. And I think it's just figuring out what that is and then being able to identify things that you can do to fulfill that for sure. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, and then for us to like close out, I wanted to know what did I write down here? Okay, yeah. So this was kind of a cool question for me. I was like, what are you excited for like this next year? Because we're getting to the end of the year. It's like, what is 2026 going to look like for you?
You know, it's funny that you bring that up because actually earlier I was talking to Reef and I told him like every year at the end of the year, I always write down my goals for myself for the year. And I do like a little bit of a reflection and saying, okay, how did I do on this goal? How did I do on this goal? And so then I rewrite myself a new set of goals for the next year. And so I like to do it in different categories too, like for yourself, physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, just set different goals for yourself, which is, I love it. It's very exciting. And so you asked, like, oh, what are you excited for? Okay, yes, excited for it. 2026. Yeah, I think this is gonna be a really great year. I'm very excited. I definitely feel like I'm gonna get more. I really want to buy my first property. So like that's a really big goal for me because I've been doing a lot of thinking about, because I want to own businesses, I want to own real estate, and looking at the logistics and like what would be the smartest move first. And so it makes sense to utilize my W-2 income right now to purchase a property, is what I'm thinking. So I'm very excited for that. And I'm very excited. I want to keep learning with AI too, and how that's going to get more incorporated into just like your everyday life, how it's going to get incorporated into business, and just be able to like share that knowledge with other people too. Because it's unreal now, like what you can do with different things. It's a game changer for sure. Like it will, in the next, I'd say 10 years or maybe less, the world is going to be a very different place. So I think it's within your best interest to either learn about it now or it's going to be like utilized against you. So yeah, very excited for that. And also another thing is just excited to keep growing my relationship with Reef as well too, and seeing where that leads. So ultimately, you know, like we're both being very intentional with each other, and like the goal I have is ultimately to get married one day. So hopefully we'll just keep working towards that, which I'm very excited about. And then, you know, just maintaining like relationships in general and your network and who you surround yourself with, you know, and just being very intentional about who you spend your time with and making connections with. So I'd say those are probably my big things on the horizon. Yes.
I love that. What I do is I like making vision boards. Do you make vision boards?
Oh, yes. Those are so fun.
Yeah. And I was looking at one the other day. I'll show it to you after. But I was looking at all the pictures on it, and it was so cool because I like put it above where I work. And so whenever I'm working on something and I get like, I don't want to do this anymore, I like look at and I keep working. And so I was looking at it the other day, and I had accomplished like all of the things on it. I think the one thing I hadn't accomplished was I had get a Porsche on there, but like I'm 15, I can't get a Porsche. But it was like a goal in my life because I really want a Porsche. And so that was on my vision board. And looking at it, I was like, I am so proud that I accomplished all of those things. And so yeah, I think that's a fun thing to do, is make a vision board.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. And the fact that you're so young and already like have such great ambitions and goals, and you've already achieved so much, like a lot more than your typical 15-year-old has. So you should be really proud of yourself. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
And I know that you're going to do amazing, awesome things. And like whatever goal you have for yourself, just break it down into small little steps. If it seems like overwhelming, I feel like there's a plan in place, and then just break it down and take it one step at a time. And you know, once a challenge comes, you just figure out a solution. You know, you have people here, like if you ever want to talk to somebody, or if you ever just want anybody maybe with some input or advice or anything, just know like you have support here. There are people that want to help you and want to see you win. So we're here for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I love that. Like this past year, I've grown such a community of people, and like I didn't expect that. I was kind of like, no, I have my people, and sometimes your people change, and you have to find new people. And that's such a blessing in life. I think sometimes we think of it as like a curse, like, dang, I have to find new people like to be with, like that kind of stuff. But it's so special because you get to know more people's stories and you get to know more people's like hearts, and that is so special.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's okay. Sometimes your circle will change. Like
Yeah.
the people that are around you will change. And that's okay. Some people are just meant to be in your life for a season, and then some people are longer.
Mhm.
But I feel like there's a purpose. Like I truly do believe like there's some people that come into your life for a
Yeah.
reason. And either they're there to teach you a lesson or
Mhm.
they're there to really genuinely help you and love you and care for you.
Yeah.
And that's okay to receive that and accept that too as well.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I had like one more question, I think. Okay, yeah, I wanted this one. Is like, what do you hope people remember you for?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would say I would hope that people remember me as being a positive person willing to help others. I would say I truly do have like a genuine big heart and I love helping others. I
Yeah.
truly do enjoy that and making people smile, making people happy. I feel like making an impact on other people's lives is that gives me purpose, you know? And just if you could leave the world knowing that you impacted somebody's life and
Yeah.
just made it better, that's how I want to be remembered for sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that everybody should like write down. I like to do this is like write down what do you want to be remembered for, and like write it
Yeah.
down and stick it on the wall and be like, okay, so I'm doing my life, going out through my life. Am I reflecting that person? Like, is that how they're gonna remember me if I die today? I'm like, okay, so I need to change how I'm acting. I need to change how I'm reacting to things. And think about people who are like really straightforward and really like true and honest with me, because I was at a swim meet. It was my last meet I swam like for a certain team, and I was like not having a good day, and I was like grumpy and I was not happy. And my coach looked at me and she was like, Rose, you talk about God, but you are not reflecting his character. And I was like, and like just knowing that people are always watching you, and so like watching how you act around people and watching how you like treat people, because you're always being watched, and so they're gonna remember you somehow. And something I have to think about is people aren't gonna just remember you from what you say, but they're gonna remember how you made them feel.
Absolutely.
And so making them feel loved and making them feel special, because like that's what everybody is, and not just like saying a whole bunch of cool things and acting a total different way, but like make sure that your words and your actions align, and they align with the person that you want to be remembered for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's right. I think I have a phrase where it's like act like the person that you want to be.
Yes.
You know, whether you're having a bad day. Like that was such a good example.
Yeah.
I love that for sure. Even though it's like, oh wait, is that really how you want to be remembered? Is that the state that you're in, like the attitude that you're having? And it makes you take a step back and you're like, oh, you know what? Yeah, you're right. You're right. You need to take a moment here, you know, collect yourself and then okay, put on a smile. Life is good.
Right. Yes. Is there anything else you want to share with them before we go?
You know, I would just say the world is your oyster, you know, take up any opportunity and say yes. I would say go for it. Like any opportunity that comes up in life, just go for it. Because what's the worst that can happen, honestly? You can more than likely your risk versus reward, you can recover, especially because you're so young too in your life. So you have time on your side right now. Like you try everything, do it all. If you have maybe just a slight, oh, maybe I should enjoy that, or maybe I would like that, just try it out. And like that's what you should do when you're young is like try as many things as possible, take up every opportunity you have, I would say, and just try it all out because then you may discover something that you absolutely love and are passionate about, and you will thank yourself. Your future self will thank you so much. I would think when I look back on my life, I want to think like I'm so glad I went for that, rather than man, I wish I would have tried that or gone for that. Like I don't want to have any regrets in life. Like I would say, just go for it. Yes. Yeah. Every opportunity, any chance you get, just try it out, and it's okay. Time is on your side. You can always it's not as detrimental as it may seem in the moment if it goes wrong. It's okay. It's okay. Life is gonna be okay and things turn out exactly the way that they're supposed to be. So that would be my advice.
Yeah, I used to think like this sounds bad, but I'd rather regret like what I did than regret what I didn't do.
Exactly.
And like not in a bad way. Like still watch what you do and be careful with that. But I'd rather like when I'm passing away, like I am so glad I did that. I'm glad I did get and like all these things, and I'm like, I wish I would have done this. Like, dang it, I should have done that, and I should have done that. I want to be like, I'm glad I did all the things that I did.
Absolutely.
And some things
yeah.
probably weren't the best decisions. I probably could have done better at the same time. I'm glad I did everything I did. And so yeah, just like take up those opportunities because there's a reason God placed you in those like areas, and just do it.
Absolutely, 100%. Just go for it. Even though it's scary, it's uncomfortable, do it anyway. Push yourself. Your future self will thank you. It will be worth it.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay, thank you guys for listening today. And if you haven't like checked out the one with Reef, check that one out, and it'll be so cool to tie them back together. But yes, have a good day.